The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus said to the crowd, "No one lights a lamp and conceals it under a vessel or sets it under a bed. Rather, it is placed on a lampstand, so that those who enter may see the light. For there is nothing hidden that will not become visible, and nothing secret that will not be known and come to light. Take care then how you hear. To anyone who has, more will be given, and from the one who has not, even what he seems to have will be taken away." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus.
Only by coincidence, as happens now and again, pretty regularly, the readings aren't intended to match during the weekday cycle, but it seems to me that this first reading is a very good example of what Jesus is telling us in the gospel. You and I are people of light. No, we either believe that or not. I don't think we believe it enough. So in the early chapter of our book study this week now, we're going to learn about our souls. You have a soul, and your soul is filled with light, and it's the light of God. It's really the fire, the life force within you, ultimately from God. It's really a rather amazing story here. In the year 586, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon conquered Israel and destroyed the city and carried off those who were not, thousands were killed, and those who remained, by and large, were carried into exile into Babylon. In 539, 47 or so years later, Cyrus not only became king, but his early movements were to have some campaign of goodness, I suppose you could call it. So here is Cyrus, a pagan king. Now, how do you define pagan? On the one hand, I suppose we say, well, it's an unbaptized person. But you know as well as I, we rather generically use the word pagan as one who does not believe in God and acts ungodly. But the so-called pagan king, Cyrus, honors and fulfills a prophecy of God. Couldn't have been too pagan. And not only that, there was some light and goodness in him. And he's moved and inspired, I suspect by grace, although he may not know what the word means, have meant. But he says, all you Israelites, all you who have been held in captivity for, in this case, 47 years. Well, okay, that's a generation and a half, or at that time, it was probably 2 generations. But they remembered, didn't they? And how happy they would have been, as it was expressed in the psalm today, that Cyrus is not only telling them to go back home, he's giving them lumber and goods and materials to rebuild the city. Now, it probably took them 5 years to get the rubble out of the way so they could rebuild the temple. But he doesn't just, oh, no, get out of here. You're making our traffic too busy. You know, it's too popular. You guys just go home. No, he sends them home with all the materials they need to rebuild the place and to build a temple, a house of God in Judah, southern kingdom. And then he tells the people to help them. Whoever among you belongs to any part of your people, let them go up, and may God be with them. And then he tells the people, show your gold, your silver, and your goods, as well as your cattle and your free offerings. He's telling all the people of his control to help this project. And they all did. Were they not people of light? What would the world look like today if we behaved similarly? It's amazing. I don't think it's a particularly big number, but I did share with you because the Archbishop Weisenberger, he does a lot of his own communicating, or so it seems. So he did send, and a lot of these texts come over the weekend. So the Archbishop sent a text that said, I don't remember the exact number, $356,248.23. I made the last part up. Is how much the diocese has already collected for Gaza, but all the parishes have not yet given. Look at the collective good. Is it going to solve the problem? No. But look at the collective good that was done because we were invited by our spiritual leader, the Archbishop, to participate in a care of those in human need, desperately. Again, I think I just said this, but we're using the votive mass for those in captivity today. And I thought, well, why that, Well, because of the first reading. Because for these 50 years, and I think they were in Babylon far longer in previous times of being conquered. But 50 years is a long time when you're held in captivity, but now they're free. I suppose the punchline today, you and I have to understand and recognize that we are people of light. And we are not to hide the light of our own goodness, our own faith, under beds or bushel baskets or vessels of any kind. Now, do we walk around flaunting ourselves, aha, I'm a Christian, I'm saved? No, that's not the point. But that we use the inner fire of our souls to do the good we can. There's innumerable stories. I didn't read it all; it's too long, and I think it's a 5-part thing. There was a tragic car accident. You probably saw it in the Free Press. Last May, was it? Up in northern Michigan, an individual was being sought for domestic violence. And he stole his girlfriend's car and, kind of started racing along 115 up there, kind of around Benzie County, etc. And as the police were chasing them, there was a van coming in the opposite direction. If you know 115, it's just a reasonably narrow two-lane road. And they were a golf team coming home from a golf match, and they were heading to Crystal Mountain to stay overnight and play more golf the next day. Nice life, So here they are driving along in their van, and this suspect is driving in this stolen car, Ford Escape, and he decides to cross over the line, and they realize now this was not an accident, but he intentionally plowed into that van. The driver of the Escape was killed, the suspect, and all the people in the van were seriously injured. But the tone of the story is, and again, I don't know if I'll have the time to read it all, the driver, the coach, turned the car at the last minute so that his position in the car would take the brunt of the crash. No one was killed. He was critically injured. Everybody had injuries, broken bones, collapsed lungs, those kinds of things. But the tone of the story is, and they're really calling it miraculous, not only that they're recovering, but it's really transformed their lives in a love and care for one another because they all recognized what the coach did. He put himself in the primary position to take the brunt of the crash, which probably saved many of their lives. Are all of us going to do that kind of thing? No, and I hope we never have to. But all of us can do something. Sometimes just a word of encouragement, a word of hello, any kind of kindness, any kind of sharing. Yeah, you know how to do that. You're being a person of light. Maybe today you can think about your soul. Now that's kind of hard to do because maybe, I don't know how people imagine that. But maybe one image, this goes back a little ways. You remember E.T.? Neil Diamond, Heartlight? Think of the light, maybe a flame, maybe a nightlight little bulb, but it's just glowing in there. It's your life force. It's the essence of God in you. And there's enough Christians in the world that if we put our lights together, wouldn't it be a lot more blinding? Let's not save, let's not protect, let's not preserve what we understand our light to be, because it's infinitely more than we can imagine, because it's God. I don't know that I understand the verse here. To the one who has, more will be given, and from the one who has not, whatever they think they have will be taken away. I guess you could say he's talking about faith. Because if you have faith and you use, the old use it or lose it, if you have faith and you're exercising it, you're not going to lose it. But if you think you have faith and you don't pay attention to it, or if you make your faith to your own liking and all of a sudden it's not really faith in God or faith in the gospel, it's faith in the way you think life ought to be, you're going to lose any grasp of God at all. And so, as another reflector pointed out, take care then how you hear. You are people of light. We profess the gospel. May God give you and may God give me today to live that and do good for others, whether convenient or inconvenient. You don't have to save the world today. One little act of kindness might make somebody's day, and the world will be better.